welcome to Raising Successful Children audiobook and ebook launch.
Yay! Welcome everyone.
Hello everyone, it's nice to see you all again. We actually had the Raising Successful Children book launch in March this year. I think March.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's been
really been 5 months.
Okay, it's been 5 months. Many of you all have purchased the book, read the book, given us amazing feedback. And what I liked about the reviews of the book is it got people to realize many things. It got people to realize about, okay, I wrote the book. I and Hira wrote this book. Harsha helped. She was part of the family. Okay, so
I was alive.
we wrote this book. At least I wrote this book with the intention of getting parents to see how they are programming their children, how they impact their children, how their thoughts limit or propel the children. But when the book was launched and many of the copies went out, the feedback that I first got was not really from parents. It was actually feedback from individuals. And I particularly like one of the feedback that I got from this guy who said something like, Walsla, after reading your book, I realized that my mom is a hero because his mom is a single mom, and he said that I've always been shy or socially stigmatized by the my parents are divorced, or my mom is a single mom. But when I read your book, I realized she's actually done a lot, and she's a very brave and strong woman to bring us up the way, and she's brought us up well. So it was very nice realizations that I didn't think that's going to happen from the book itself. So it was very nice that
The other audience that we have a bunch of 6-year-olds, which was not our targeted audience.
true.
We meant for the parents of the 6-year-olds, but the 6-year-olds were the ones ending up reading the book and remembering.
No, there were like a few, like quite a number of
I think I
6-year-olds
had three
specifically.
6 years old who read this book. The first one was the mom was telling me that she bought the book, but she left it there. So she didn't read it. So in the end, the 6-year-old boy said, since you're not reading this book, can you read it for my bedtime? So the mother actually, for the 10 days, there's 10 chapters. So for 10 days, every day, she read it to him. And when we had a Raising Successful Children workshop after that, for all those who purchased the pre-order books, he was there. He was the little boy there who was listening, and he was going, I know Hira, I know Harsha. So it was very nice. And he even gave feedback of a part of the book that he wasn't happy with, and a part of the book that he was happy with. So
Don't worry, the only part I was not happy was when the story of
yeah, he wasn't so happy with one part of the book where
There
Hira
was an injury.
there was an injury. Hira will fall down and injure her head. So he was like, no, I'm not happy with that. So I was like, okay. So yes, so we have readers who are 6 years old.
I think we had other small children who were like, Mommy, can you read this book so you can raise me
Yes,
correctly?
yes,
I was
yes.
like, oh no, why
Yes.
would you say that, 6-year-old?
Yes. So I have a few group of audience, single young adults, 6-year-olds. So don't know why 6-year-olds,
6-year-olds.
and parents. So from the moms were a lot more on. There were a number of feedbacks. One was very sweet, saying that actually, for parents, it's a bit profound because you are in the shoes doing the work right now, especially if your children are teenagers and all. And one particular parent actually told me, this person actually told me, actually, we pressurize our children too much, right? We stress them up, right? So, it's like we should take it easy and, let them figure it out. We don't have to send them for too many classes, don't need to do too many, no need to be too anxious and in trying to provide the best for my child, but actually allow the child to find out things about for themselves. That was one feedback.
I think my favorite audience that has read this book and has actually come back with feedback has actually been individuals from the corporate world. So one of the things that we did, which I thought was quite surprising, is we did a company tour. So it's still going on. If you have a company and you want us to come and talk to you guys and your colleagues, you can do that. But it's been really fun, going from one organization to another, some virtually, some physically, and sharing about your work-life balance and bringing the conversation about family into the workspace. I think that has been very fun to do.
So there is takeaways, there's learnings, there's profound, deep meanings from the book for a lot of the readers. But as authors,
Yeah.
as related to the authors, and we have also had our journeys in the last 5 months. So one is we have had number of talks in companies, and one the last month one was in Shell, and it was very nice to see how parents related to it. And see, when you write your book, it's mostly it's my life experiences, their life experiences and all. But when we go out there and share it, and we see how it impact individuals, parents, it's just very nice.
So
Yeah.
today's event is a celebration of all the things that we've accomplished together as authors and readers since the launch of Raising Successful Children, the book, and also to share with you some of the moments so that you can be a part of our journey as well. So I think we're going to take you through the first and one of the most fun things that happened on the journey of this book, which was the book launch itself. We were very happy to have it at the Kuala Lumpur Performing Arts Centre, KLPAC, together with our event coordinators, ET Ideas, who's always been there supporting us since Arsha and I were 14 and 11 respectively. Wow, really?
Yeah.
Right? 14 and 11 respectively. So, we're going to be showing you a quick highlight video for those of you who weren't able to join us physically. And we're going to make some really good memories with you at the virtual launch so you can be tuning in from wherever you are. So, this is the highlight video of the Raising Successful Children book launch. See that?
Okay, so coming back, we had a nice launch. We had an amazing launch, and after this launch, we had a lot of book reviews. I had small group talks, and some of my friends who were working in companies were suggesting, why don't you come and give a talk to our group of people? So during, I think, month of May, we gave a talk in Munchies, but this one was online. So they had about 60 over people tuning in. We would at that time, a lot of people were still working from home, so it was from all over the country they were tuning in, and it was pretty exciting. We kept like half the segment for Q&A, and the Q&A was too much. We couldn't take it. We couldn't take the Q&A. We had to end the session before the many of the questions could get answered. But it was nice. It was nice to see that parents were thinking. Okay, one of the main thing I mean, when I wrote the book, I followed my heart, I followed my mentor, and I wrote a book to inspire people. But as I answer questions, as I talk to people now, I realize one very important reason why the book is important. 20 years ago, this book is not even, it won't be there lah, because I didn't have the experience. But why it's important is because there is such a huge change in technology. There's such a huge change in the way
Generation
the working world is, the school education is, and this is also a lot compounded by the what do you call that, the pandemic. Okay, because of the pandemic, a lot of things went online, a lot of things went global, and the one that adapted best is the Gen Zs, is the youngsters, is most of your children, my children as well. And because of that, the way they connect is different. And if you see, there are so many things that are changing. Even currently, Ascendance is working with Water Interactive. So they're coming out with training programs that use interactive or gaming platforms to teach.
Yep. So we used actually alternative reality courseware that uses AR elements that has actually been prepared by the Wharton School faculty and packaged and run through Wharton Interactive, their division in a sense that produces all of these alternative reality courses. And Ascendance in turn actually is working with them where they're verified instructors for this particular project, where we are actually doing a 3-day intensive program for students to learn about leadership, learn about business development, entrepreneurship, intensively through this alternative reality simulations and this kind of world-class knowledge.
So SNS program, the first program ever in Southeast Asia, or probably even in the world for youngsters, using interactive, what an interactive platform is in December this year. If you've got 13 to 19-year-olds, you can
Yeah.
send them there. But what the point I was making is things are changing really fast. And whatever worked for you 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, might not work 5 years from now. Okay, and you can see that yesterday they were doing cleaning for the Essence HQ. If people like to listen to my talk because it's very very current. Yesterday they were cleaning Essence HQ after 2 years of not really being there. And when I asked them why was there so many, what are you all throwing off? They say a lot of it got obsolete because of technology. So it's like the wireless, I mean mouse, keyboards, all those things are is redundant just in 2 years.
A lot of the modules also as well have changed drastically with the pandemic's development. So like a lot of the ways that we used to run things, the program modules, the questions that we used to ask students drastically improved because we had to constantly innovate to reach out to so many people and engage people from different countries. One of the things that Harsha even found was SNS's projected impact. So back in
2018 actually. So in 2018, when we were doing our corporate partner proposals and our documents, we actually had a 5-year plan. And that 5-year plan said that, okay, by 2022, which would be 5 years from then, we would impact 970 students. Which was funny looking at it yesterday because this year we easily have impacted over 30,000 students from across
So
the
the
world.
official count is 35,000 students.
Yeah.
Okay, 35,000 students.
This year,
But
yeah.
but this just, it's exponential growth and a nationwide impact and an international connection all came in the last 2 years because they embrace things differently.
And it's not just, I think, a sentence that's going through this. Yes, we are an organization, but every single kid at school is going through a similar personal transformation where things that they thought I'd have to wait.
But
for-
this
yeah.
changes everything. This change. Okay, Hira and Harsha are here in Malaysia, but they are studying in the United States. One is studying in Harvard, and the other one is studying in University of Pennsylvania. So your children might be studying in different universities, or the way studying might be using Wharton Interactive instead. So it's like, or you may do Wharton Interactive program was an MBA course, so you maybe be doing something courses like that. There are many of people that I'm working with right now are working in Malaysia, but their bosses or their companies are in the US. So it's like, and it's like it is becoming very global, and the technology is propelling intense change. I think today there was in the papers where Malaysian gamers earn, I think, I don't know,
275 million.
it's like 100,000 a month. Okay, Malaysian gamers, so it's like the whole thing is changing faster than we can comprehend. But one thing that you can be assured is the Gen Zs, nature has already instilled what they need for them to succeed in future. So they are actually more in line with the change. The only thing that stops them is when parents, um, either you disapprove it, or you keep them busy and confined to their current world, current reality. So they don't have the chance to look at things extra. So that's one of the reasons why, coming back to my book. So when I looked at this book gave me a chance to tell parents to do things, not tell parents, to get their parents to see maybe there's a different way of doing things. And going to this many companies, initially, a lot of social media postings were what was engaging people. But when I went to companies, and I realized one thing, a lot of times when you work in an organization, which I did for 15 years before, you're so wrapped up in that organization. That's your world. Okay, so if you work in this X company, everything is about this X company. So much into that world, you don't really see what is happening outside. So when I have this chance to meet people from companies and speak to them, parents and also Gen Zs are also now going into the workforce. It gets them to think differently, do things differently. Meeting Hira and Harsha helps as well.
Yep. And I feel similar, like how Gen Zs are changing and they are growing in a sense. Even the workspace is changing as well. I think
Evolving.
after the pandemic, your barriers between work and home have become a little bit more thin. Everyone understands that you have family, you have people around your house that are there and involved in your life. And so things like family and children and this relationship between parents and children have become much more, I think, at the forefront of the conversation.
And the pandemic also have made a lot of people realize, including parents, including Gen Zs, the quality of life. It's like you do want a well balanced family life, a well balanced time for yourself, for travel, for learning, for having impact to a social cause or doing good in the community. So it's like it's just not work alone. So the whole work study process or balance or dynamics are actually changing.
So, although the book may seem like it's about raising successful children, which in itself it is, it also talks a lot about how we balance and support each other on our
So
goals.
somebody actually told me, I'll read the book and raise myself successfully. So you can do that as well. So yes, and today is the launch of the audiobook. Um, uh, so I'm okay with the book, but many times we're also very busy. As much
Although
as
the
we,
book is beautiful,
the book is beautiful. Hira got a lot of nice photographs of us when we were young, and we look really beautiful, really good. But and many people intend to read the book, but the problem is sometimes we're just busy. Okay, I don't have that time that I used to have 20 years ago when I could read the book. So somebody requested, can we have an audio book? It's so much easier. I can listen when I'm going for a walk. I can listen when I'm driving. It's like I can listen when I'm doing something else. So I'm usually not very good at taking up suggestions, but people around me are. So they were like, oh yeah, you should do audiobook. So here is the audiobook. Today is the launch of the ebook and the audiobook. You need to listen to it yourself.
so someone in the comment is asking where will we get the link for the book. We'll show you a little snippet of the audiobook first, and then we'll be sharing in the chat where you can get access to it, how you can purchase it, and so much more. So that was a little snippet of how the ebook and audiobook looks like. I will be sending the link in the chat so that you can click it and you can get it as well.
And I need to thank E.T. Boost for this awesome audiobook. Okay, the audiobook is just not me reading it. Me reading it is one of it, but it's with infused with situational background music that gets you to experience it as well. And the person who was behind the creation of the audiobook is Sharvin Sukumar from E.T. Boost. And thank you, Sharvin, and also all the people who did the auditing or editing of not editing the auditing the reviewing of the book or the audio book,
See,
which is
content hat is on.
yes which is Dila and Lin Chan and Ramya. Okay, so they actually made sure that the book has the audio book is as per the actual book, except now I speak to you. And thank you to Ilengo who read out the forward. He wrote the forward, so he came to read it out again. And Hira and I read some parts of the book each. So, but from my generation, right, audiobook is not something that is frequent. Okay, I'm getting used to it. I'm getting used to the audiobook after the Teenage Entrepreneur
Boston
audiobook.
didn't even have Spotify until like
Yeah,
2 months ago.
so I just don't listen to it. So
That means you don't have.
so doing my own audiobook is very surreal. Okay, and uh, I think I was listening to it as I was preparing for the launch today. I was quite happy with it. It's pretty nice. I would listen to this as I'll go for a walk and all. Not so, you listen to your own voice, right? It's a bit cringe, okay? But it wasn't that cringe, a little bit cringe for me still. Okay. But my favorite, I'm going to pick some of my favorite parts of the book. And I think the one is where chapter 6 starts. So let's hear from a snippet from the audiobook.
Chapter 6 SIP Lifestyle. I met my mentor, Ilengo Tiagu, when I went for his half day workshop on setting and achieving goals with the 7 basic laws of nature on 29 July 2013. I remember that day very well indeed. Two things resonated well with me. One, do the right things and the reward will come back to you. What goes around comes back around. Number two, your spiritual growth is not separate from your life. You grow spiritually through your business, your career, your family, your friends. Nature teaches you through people and incidents. A few days later, I attended ET Ideas weekly talk featuring Ilengo Tiago. At that point in time, my whole world was crumbling down. I had just quit my very successful and well-paying job. The business plans I had was not working out. My long-time relationship just
So,
came to an abrupt.
so it was very nice that all of you could hear the chapter 6,
Sorry, you had me
but we
cough.
couldn't hear the chapter 6.
Yeah.
So now I can't remember which one is chapter 6, but it is the time. I think it was the time. Can I need to guess which chapter is which? Okay, I wrote the book. I'm sure I wrote the book, but
Okay, Sheila asked you anyway. Actually, what made you write this book?
when this book when Hira got into Harvard, okay, last year in June, and a number of people asked me, how did you do it? How did she do it? And a lot of them actually asked me,
What's the secret formula?
no, they asked me, how can my child apply for scholarship? And they were going to do it for their children. That's when I realized parents are just getting it wrong. You cannot set goals for your children. They need to do it, but you need to have the environment for it. There's a process to it. That means she didn't suddenly get into Harvard by accident. I didn't know she was going to get into Howard. I didn't know she was going to get into UPenn. But um, incidences or things that I did right, the business incubator that I was in, ET Ideas, and the work they did with Ascendance was actually what got them into Ivy League universities. And so when somebody asked me that, and a few people were coming back and asking me, I said, you know what? And someone else asked me, why don't you write a book? So I was like, okay, let me start writing a book. Okay, it started as a simple writing the book, but of course, by the time it got into a few versions, it was a tough challenge. So coming back to the snippet just now, the two things that was very profound to me was what goes around comes back around. You do the right things come back to you. So this is something that I have done in my life, and that's what they do as well. So for many years, we were doing things, especially with Ascendance and all. They were not getting paid. They were not getting the returns. They were not getting these things and all. But nature will give you what you deserve. Nature will give you the appreciation when you need it and for what you need it. So all of us no need to go to Ivy League, but we all, because they have their purpose why they're doing that. They want to
We're not doing it for the pristine degree, although many people may think that. One of the reasons why we're doing this is so that Essence gets the global connections that we can make to impact other youngsters from around the world as well. As much as we love our country and working with Malaysian youth, youth disengagement is not a localized problem. It is a global problem. We want to make sure that youngsters around the world are empowered leaders who can actually create change, can actually be innovative to build a world that is sustainable, that has solved the world problems, that can explore new worlds as well. But you can't do this if youngsters are not engaging in day-to-day life, if they don't see the purpose to take action or the purpose of what they can do to contribute to this world.
So it's not to see the surface level and say, oh, she got a scholarship, oh, she got this universities, and how we gonna get it. It's not the surface level. It's the context behind it. It's the purpose after it. Like for example, right, when Harsha got into UPenn, she wants to take Essence Global. A year later, she started getting very connected to the professors at Wharton, and that came about the collaboration with Essence and Wharton Interactive. In December this year, for the first time ever, students in Malaysia are going to experience Wharton Interactive programs here in Malaysia. They have brought it here. So that's one of it. Number two is, like, I think Madura had the Teenage Entrepreneur Challenge with the schools and all
With the
using,
Ministry of Education as well as in collaboration with Wharton Interactive.
and they are bringing this technology, this latest technology, latest way of learning to everyday outskirt children as well, whichever children that's interested. So it is these things that is driving them actually, and your child, you need to drive to be driven by your own purpose.
Okay, so we have an incoming question from the audience. The audience says, I want to read this book. Is it free or not? So, this question I have to ask you with another question. As you enter into a bookstore, do you take 10 books out and just say it's free? I want to take out and go, that's called a library. So, if you want to read Raising Successful Children book, then it is 5 copies in the National Library, so you can check it out anytime you want. But the audiobook, and as much as all these productions, all this streaming does incur costs. So even though you're enjoying this wonderful event for free, you get to hang out with us. And I'm sure many of you are sponsored students from SNS's Teenage Entrepreneur Program, which has been supported and funded by ABDSM. So even though you are enjoying the content for free, people still have to sweep the floor and on the lights and everything, and they don't get, like, they are not paid $1 million for it. So one of the things that we're doing, two things. We've actually got the book and the ebook and the audiobook all available online. You need to purchase the book. If you want to talk to your parents about it, I'm sure they'll enjoy consuming the content, reading it with you, and growing with you as well. At the same time, proceeds from this book is actually going to funding Harsha and I's education, so we can build more connections back by sentence. At the same time, it's also funding other kids on the Teenage Entrepreneur platform. So we've partnered with an NGO called PMDK. So for every certain amount of books that we've sold, we actually use that funds to actually sponsor another kid from the part of the country to actually be part of SNS's Teenage Entrepreneur Program. So when you buy the book, you actually in turn contribute to another kid being sponsored for SNS's program from here.
So the audiobook is $69.90, same as the physical book. If there's a lot of creation of content in there, and I think we need to learn how to value the content creation that we can't see, the impact the book is going to bring as well. And if you're a student, speak to your parents, get your parents to join us.
So you can get the book at the link in the description there. I think we'll also put up QR code and also drop the link in the comments. Make sure you guys get it. It would be really, really a huge support to all of the many things that we're doing. And I think the audiobook doesn't just come alone, right? You actually get the audiobook and the ebook
Yes,
together.
the audiobook and the
Yes.
ebook. So
And, yeah.
if you're someone who likes to read online, that is
Like, I'm someone who seldom reads physical books anymore. I know, I'm so sorry, but I seldom really read physical books anymore, unless once in a while. And that's why I'm personally a huge fan of ebooks. So make sure that if you are someone who likes ebooks, or you want to try the audiobook, or you like audiobooks, you want to try the ebook, you can get both. And you can get both of them together in the link below.
I am a physical book person, so I would rather purchase the book, which you still can. I would rather purchase it and have it shipped to my house so that I can open the wrapping and like smell the pages and read the book. But like recently, I have been a bit more occupied with my time, so I'm going to be opting for the audiobook as well. Although I do have a physical copy of the book just because I like collecting books. So depends on your preferences. But either way, you're supporting the whole ecosystem that is able to do continuous and countless programs for kids around the world.
And what it does for you. Okay, there is a saying: you read a book and you will never be the same again.
Yeah.
Because a book, not necessarily this book alone, it can be any book. If the book engaged you and you read it to the end or to almost half of it or what, something in your mind has changed. So some ideas, some perceptions, something will click when you need it. So reading a book is never a waste. But now you don't have to just read a book. You can listen. You can hear and experience the book as well.
Three-dimensional.
Yes, yes.
All right. If you have any more questions, do drop it in the chat. We would be happy to take the answers for that. And we're going to listen to the next snippet.
Yeah. So let's go on with the next snippet. This is on chapter 7, I think, the first few seconds of it.
Many of my perceptions about relationships, career, business, youngsters, kids, education, and even my own daughters have changed. This is what my life experiences have taught me. I was brought up by my parents always saying, focus on your studies, don't do anything else. I did just that and did well in my academics. Later, I found a job and built a career. So years later, when my daughters met ETITS and started working on their careers while in school itself, the people around me echoed my inner programming. People started telling me, you are letting your children grow up too fast. They are losing their childhood. They will lose focus on their studies. These were some of the concerns raised by friends and relatives. So I spoke to my mentor about it, and he got me to realize that it was a reflection of my inner subconscious programming and
So this is something so important, when we don't realize, but our own thinking, the way we do things, are so influenced by our parents. Okay, so when we become parents, we go into an auto parent mode, and just
What does
like
that mean?
like what I was reading, what was the first 1 minute of the book, of this chapter is, my parents, my father came from a very poor family, so the only way out of it was, he was born in 1940s. So during the war, the only way out of poverty was education at that time. So his father told him, don't do anything else, cannot go movie, cannot go anything, no entertainment, nothing. You just study only. That was his rule. Of course, as he grew up, he cheated a bit, go for movie and all lah. Okay, but this was carried on to me. So for me, when I started, when I was a young girl, I don't need to do anything. I just study only. And this is something that a lot of parents instill, and a lot of it worked for me. What I'm trying to say is, but now it won't work anymore, because first of all, their capacity to understand and do things is much further.
So much more.
So much more. So if you just ask them to study only, and Gen Z is wired a bit differently. They need to apply. So and that time, right, when I was a young girl, when I was studying, there's no internet. There is, there's no internet.
No
You cannot Google. There's
Instagram.
no Google, no Instagram, no Google and all. Okay, so you need
We don't even have
you need the
phones.
knowledge. So you get the knowledge from the book, from the teachers. But times have changed. Now you can Google this knowledge. So if you keep giving these children this knowledge, but you don't give them the experience, then how are they going to excel now? So times have changed, and we need to change with the time as well. So, yeah.
So if you want more of that, you can get the audiobook and listen to chapter 7. I'd like one thing about the audiobook that I'm just going to mention is, I first of all, I know you said you sound cringe to your own ears,
Yeah, I sound
but I
cringe.
think you sound lovely when we actually hear it from another person's point of view. And I think also the background music, the atmosphere, it all builds up a lot of suspense. So if you agree with me, and what are your thoughts on the snippets we've heard so far, let us know in the comments below as well.
Yeah. So thank you, Sharveen and ET Boost, for that. They brought my book alive. Yes. So we have another chapter 8. Let's listen to chapter 8.
Chapter 8 Beyond My Box. Then there is Harsha. She was so busy with assonance work in her IGCSE year that she missed almost half her lesson days. She was busy conducting Ascendant's ACID Easy program in government schools for other youngsters. Her school teachers and classmates went out of their way to help her catch up with their studies. I must admit, there were times I got worried if it was too much for her. My protective instincts as her mother did kick in. Who cares about other kids? Why does my daughter need to do this? But I held my tongue and cleared out my thoughts with my mentor and did not tell my girls any of these doubts and concerns. Ilango replied, "That's the problem. Everyone knows the problem, but no one wants to step out and take the risk of making this a better world. Even when the youngsters volunteer to do it, parents stop them." He reminded me that the work they were doing will shape generations to come. The positive cycle from this is immeasurable. He's also building their character through Ascendant's work. They are currently sowing the seeds. A time will come to reap the fruits. Trust him and his guidance I did.
A lot about Essence, but being the founders of Essence, being any member of Essence, even being
Everyone
a
in
supporter
Essence,
of
yeah.
Essence, okay, or going to the schools, driving here, going there, and all, it is very tiring. It's a lot of hard work, and there was times when Hasha missed so many days in school, and it did get to me. It's like I have two children, both of them are busy with Essence. They don't get anything, and now they do, because now how they get it is it has come back in this Ivy League
After 7
education.
years.
Yes, in this winning the Icon Award, winning competitions. So it's coming back now, but it's not something like they got paid for. They were so tired. They have to still juggle their school thing. They didn't complain. They were fine. But I, as a parent, was like, am I sacrificing my children for good of people? We have all this drama, okay? So, but the drama must be addressed. So I share how I saw the bigger picture. How I saw that um, sometimes we are very short-sighted. We think we do this means we do A means we must get paid for this A, but we don't really understand nature's laws then. Because if you really understand nature's laws, you do your best. What goes around will come back around. But you follow your heart. That means you don't go extra out of your way to do things and then say, oh, Walsla said this, Walsla's book said this. Not that. Follow your heart. You will know. And when the cause engage you so much, it will lift you. And if you are going to impact so many people's life, you must have faith that nature will take care of you. You want to say something?
I'm gonna say the comment because I think it's a sweet comment. Sheila says, "Yes, I think I need to get a copy of this audiobook. It's more lively, nice."
Yeah. Thank you to Idibus. Thank you to Sharwin, who figured out what situational music he had to put
What elements
and
need to
bring.
be poured into the mix to get this?
And I remember reading this part in the book, and I feel like when we listen to the audiobook, it's more emotional, it's more emotive, and you really try to, like, you really get into the zone of, like, how you felt during that time compared to sometimes, when you were reading it and you just end up being so engrossed in the book, you read. This really paces you through the story.
It's a different, again, just like all the technology is changing out, the book is being brought alive by having an audiobook. And in those days, audiobook is just read only. Okay, nowadays audiobook is it's cinematic. Okay, just that you don't see the visual, but the audio itself is brought to life.
feel
You
the
feel it.
visual.
You feel the emotions. Okay, yes, the thing. And so I'm not going to. My favorite chapters are chapter 9 and 10 actually. Okay, but I'm not going to do a spoiler for that. I think you all had enough spoilers already. You all got the idea how the audio book is. And I would like to conclude it with the acknowledgement of the book, all the people who brought this book alive.
Acknowledgements. The story of me and my two beautiful daughters was shaped by these amazing individuals in my life. My deepest gratitude to you from the bottom of my heart. To my mother, Kartiani, who has always showered me with love and showed me to love unconditionally. You always chose us over anything else. I learned how to be a loving mother from you. If not for you, the difficult times in my life would have made me a bitter person. Thank you for being my best friend and partner in crime in raising Hira and Harsha. To my father, Chandrasekharan, who had always been there for me in my times of trouble and sheltered me from much of the real problems of the world. Because of you, I have never known much hardship and instead could focus on my ambitions to achieve academic excellence and growth in my career. In fact, the seeds of ambition and success was planted by you in our conversations when I was young. To my parents who helped me raise Hira and Harsha since they were babies, you both are very much the strength and foundation behind all our successes. To Ilengo Tiago, my mentor who encouraged me to share my journey, my lessons, and my success with the rest of the world, especially with other parents. Without you, this book would not be possible because I would not have been aware enough to raise my children to their current level of success. Thank you for guiding me to understand myself, to respond to situations, and raise my children successfully. Without you, I would have confined Hira and Harsha to my limited possibilities of the world. To my friend and partner in crime, Ramya Shini, who is always there for us in our adventures, in our trying times, in our travels, in our triumphs, and our tears. You are the song behind our success, the reason why we accomplish everything that we do. Thank you for being you and for always watching out for us. You complete us. To my brother, Murali Krishnan, who has made me feel that I am not alone in this journey of life. Thank you for being there for me in my times of trouble, like all brothers do. To all the ETID associates who are my family and have been there for me, Hira and Harsha over the years. You are the pillars behind our successes. Thank you for the countless hours of work and for creating special moments in our lives as we strive to change the world together. A special shout out to Joyce Lim, Yap Hui Ting, Edward Bowie, Madhura Kannan, Sanat Kumar Ganesan, Dilashini Rajendran, Stephen Raj, and Vishnupriya Krishnakumar. To the team behind the publication of this book, you brought my story to life. Yes, we did it. Thank you, Nikki Cheng, for all the beautiful photos of us. Thank you, Vinisha Sugumar, for the vivid illustrations in this book. Thank you, Lin Chan, for taking time off your busy schedule to edit the draft. Lastly, thank you, Hira, for finding all the precious photos in this book, for formatting the layout and giving context to my writing, so much so that you became the co-author of this book. To all my clients who have become my friends over the years, you inspire me to keep doing what I do and to continue following my heart. Watching many of you grow in your happiness and wealth, enhancing the relationship around you, makes my work in guiding people worthwhile. Lastly, to both Hira and Harsha, my beautiful daughters, for achieving one goal after another and being an inspiration to youngsters of your generation. Thank you for choosing me as your mother.
So you heard it yourself. There's a lot of people behind the scenes who actually
So-
made this book possible.
and basically all the people who are supporting our lives and then making this book possible. And now the credit adds on to Edie Boos and Sharvin Sukumar, who's not there because he did the audiobook. So this is the product of his creativity as well. So yes. And movies you'll have credits, right? That was the credits, lah. Okay, so you found
This is your end credit
It's your
scene.
end credit scene, yes. So okay, thank you very much. Do get the audiobook. It's different. It's a different creation, and share it with people. Share it with as many people as you can, or just because not because it's my book and you like us. That not because of that. Because I do feel it wakes something up in people. It gets people to listen to their heart, gets people to be happy, gets people to challenge their own limit. Okay, because you live once, you live your life. So share this. If you know anybody in companies or you work in a company or what, talk to your HR, talk to your manager. You can even have a group of 10 people, that's fine. You may not have all three of us there because they do need to go to US shortly, but next 2 months is there, and but you will have me probably. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for getting the book, and please spread the news around.
Hope you have a lovely Sunday and see you guys next time. So if you want to catch more of the Raising Successful Children book tour, let your company know. You can contact their HR department and then drop us an email as well. I think you can visit WhatsApp's website for the contact details. And most importantly, thank you for enjoying the book with us. We hope you now enjoy the audiobook and ebook. See you all.
Bye.